The National Conference on the Role of Youth in Reconciliation was held at the Lakshman Kadrigama Institute of International Relations and Strategic Studies in Colombo on the 2nd of January 2013. This was the 6th such National Conference on Reconciliation, hosted by the Institute. Several youth, representing various aspects of academia as well as youth organizations island-wide, shared their views and experiences on how to engage and empower youth in the reconciliation process. Chairman of the Kadrigama Institute and Minister of External Affairs, Professor G.L. Pires, delivered the introductory speech.
I strongly believe that the generational dimension plays a very significant part in any meaningful discourse on the subject of reconciliation. The youth, young people, have their own ideas about what reconciliation means and how it can be pragmatically accomplished. When Namal visited Jaffna, I was with him when he visited a number of schools in that area, and the spontaneity with which he was received by young Tamil students. They were not conscious of ethnicity, but they were conscious of the fact that the person they were talking to was somebody they could identify with, because he belonged to their generation. And there was so much in common, a whole reservoir of values, experiences, and perceptions which they shared in common. So what was shared was the focus, not what divided us on ethnic lines.
The keynote address of the conference was delivered by Chairman of the Tharuniya Heta MP, Namal Rajapaksa.
Many young Tamils from north and east, in a probability, may have not met their Sinhalese brethren. In my many visits to north and east, I experienced this sad situation. To many, it may look very strange and also unbelievable. But my first-hand experience convinced me that there were many Tamil youth who had never met a Sinhalese. Of course, there must be a common medium to communicate with each other. When a Tamil meets a young Sinhalese, either Sinhalese must learn to speak in Tamil or vice versa. Or else, both communities must learn English, a word language that brings communities together. A younger generation must lay more emphasis in learning the national languages of our motherland.
Speaking on the international context of youth reconciliation, Head of International Centre for Political Violence and Terrorism Research, Singapore, Professor Rohan Gunaratne, emphasized that the best antidote against terrorism was to build communication links that brings together everyone.
I see that some accusations against government, you are not promoting reconciliation. No, reconciliation is the business of everyone, especially the opposition, all religious groups, ethnic groups, political parties, the education sector, the business sector, everyone must promote reconciliation. And today, because of the threats that we are facing, it should become mandatory upon everyone.
The first session of the National Conference was led by Fadil Bakir Maka, Director of Connect Lanka, on the topic of religious coexistence and positive youth participation.
This is our moment for change, a moment to reconcile, a moment to stand up against the narrow lines of viewing each other as a majority or minority, a moment to love, not to hate. Also because I believe of the potential young people have to seize this moment, in a positive way, define the future, their future, one where we all coexist, understand and respect one another, which is made in the legacy of
Project Director of the Veeramantra International Centre for Peace, Education and Research, Neshan Gunasekara, Rotary Peace Fellow in Singapore, Yap Kwong Weng, Director General of Youth Services Council of Sri Lanka, Lalit Piyum Pereira, and Prime Minister of the Sri Lanka Youth Parliament, Sihan Damika Pereira, were other speakers in the first session of the conference. The session was chaired by Bertel Pinto Jayawardena, the founder trustee and coordinator of Unity Mission Trust.
Enriched by their comments and observations and their thoughts.
The second session of the National Conference on the Role of Youth in Reconciliation was led by Darshika Kadirveer Tavamani, a student of Holy Family Convent, Bambalapitiya.
We, the students, as future leaders of the nation, could do much for reconciliation. In schools, students interact with each other without variations among themselves. And presently, many organizations have come forward to bring students from all around the island together and build up friendship and understanding. The friendship they build up during these workshops should grow throughout their lives and be passed on to the next generation.
Former LTT ex-combatant turned actor Shantalingam Gokulan Raj spoke on the power of the performing arts as a tool for change.
உண்மையிலே ஆரம்பத்திலே நான் புனர்வாழ்வு பெற்று புனர்வாழ்வு முகாமிலிருந்து ரிலீஸ் ஆகி வெளியில் வரும்போது எனக்குள்ளே ஒரு பயம் ஒன்று இருந்தது. ஆனால் அந்த எதிர்பார்ப்பை அந்த மனநிலையை உடைத்து இன்று நான் உங்கள் முன்னிலையிலே ஒரு நல்ல நிலையில் உள்ள ஒரு கலைஞனாக, ஒரு நடிகனாக, ஒரு ஆற்றுகை கலைஞனாக வந்து இருக்கின்றேன் என்றால் அதற்கும் காரணம் இந்த ஆற்றுகை கலைதான்.
Sharing her experiences overseas, youth activist Stephanie Sirivardhana expressed her opinion on efforts to take Sri Lanka to the global arena.
Youth have an extremely crucial role to play. As mentioned here, students play a huge role because I'm not only talking about students in Sri Lanka, I'm also talking about students abroad, which is the youth that we have to make sure to engage. Because coming from Canada and holding student government position in Canada, I noticed that there was a huge divide which was there. My best friends were Tamil, and I was at the time in charge of all the student clubs, and they came up to me and they wanted to open up a Tamil club. And I remember for the longest time we would have this argument, be like, so why not make it a Sri Lankan club as opposed to a Tamil club? And then they were like, no, but it is identity. And I agree with that. People should first identify themselves as Sri Lankan and then as Tamil, Muslim, Sinhalese or Burgher.
Human rights lawyer Salma Yusuf moderated the session. Briefing the gathering on upcoming events of the Lakshman Kadirgama Institute of International Relations and Strategic Studies, its executive director Asanga Abegunasekara said that a national conference on the role of the diaspora in reconciliation and a national conference on the role of religious leaders in reconciliation will also be convened in the future.